South Park: The Stick of Truth is absolutely fantastic. The developers were able to create a fun, engaging story with a fun gameplay loop, and that can be credited to the fact that it's South Park. Matt Stone and Trey Parker fully emulated the feel of South Park within The Stick of Truth, which does feel like an entire season of the show, with your character being front and center. Every aspect of the game is so good because there is infinite creative freedom. The developers had no limits concerning the gameplay, outfits, weapons, spells, and the story itself. The main thing I can praise and commend is the escalation of tension. All stories increase in tension and stakes. However, it's a balancing act. We all know the heroes will win if the stakes are too high. This, in turn, reduces tension as we know the heroes will prevail. Conversely, if the stakes are too low, the consequences of failure are too low to be fought out, leading to lower audience tension and investment. We won't care about the characters' hardships if we aren't invested in their problems. There can also be the issue of going beyond the story's scope and scale. Stories become larger in scale and scope, dealing with larger threats and having more grandiose plots. However, they need to stay within the boundaries of the story and the characters themselves.
My God, it must be over 100 Kuriks!
The same goes for gameplay, as the game needs to remain within the boundaries and limits of the game world. Sci-fi shooters like Halo have the advantage of being set in the future, so they have more creative freedom in terms of guns, vehicles, and enemy variety. This is where South Park can play its cards to the fullest. Since it's South Park, anything and everything is on the table in terms of story, gameplay, exploration, and side missions. The gameplay is simple but engaging and funny enough to keep you entertained until the credits roll. It's a turn-based RPG with many attacks, abilities, potions, and buddies to help you fight. I went with the fighter class, and he had a baseball bat, a kick to the testicles, and a bull rush, which are all heavily used. But the other classes have fun and creative attacks, like the car battery with the mage. Again, using the game's creativity, it has all sorts of unique items that can use as weapons, potions, and armor. To alien space armor, to, well, that.
Boys, before we eat, don't forget to thank the Lord for this bountiful penis!
You also have a buddy to help you fight, and they also have a variety of abilities for you to work with, from Cartman's V-chip,
butt plug, whore, ginger, ball sucker, black, hairy bows, butt, forced in, shut up, dildo.
to Kenny's ability to drive young boys mad.
Yeah, looky what we got here. I'm coming for you, baby. Oh, yeah. Whoa, those are some big old bitties. Man, oh, man.
The game also offers good satire on different tropes you find in gaming, such as the silent protagonist. In other games, they don't really pay attention to the fact that your character might be dead silent. However, they take full attention here.
We've got some money for you on the kitchen counter, sweetie. Just be back before it gets dark.
Yeah, we love you too.
So, you're the new kid everyone is talking about. What's your name? He doesn't talk, Elf King. He thinks he's hot shit or something.
Yet it still plays to the strengths of a silent protagonist. I think they went with that decision so you can be fully immersed in the world of South Park. Useless audio logs that might be useless and redundant in other games are made fun of here.
Hungry. I've searched for food, but the only thing I've found are other people's annoying, useless audio logs. Why did they bother when they clearly were in terrible danger? Each audio log I find is more irrelevant and boring than the last. I must keep looking for a way to survive. Day 4. I've looked everywhere, but I can't find anything to eat. Or a clue to get me off the ship. Just more audio logs. They're everywhere. For some reason, I listened to every minute of every one of them, thinking there'd be some useful information, but it's like they're just filler. Useless filler. They're filler that's driving me to madness.
Yet, when you are transported into the alien spaceship and get an anal probe stuck up your ass, it still plays into the trope of audio logs giving vital story information. In fact, it outright states what the next part of the story will uphold.
Success! I found something that looks to be food. It's some sort of green fluorescent goo. I'm gonna have to try and eat some. It's not so bad. It's tangy and nutty. Would probably go well with a... Hey, what's happening to me? What's it?
Speaking of alien spaceships, the spaceship crashes into South Park, and the small-scale story of the kids playing make-believe fantasy naturally fuses with the massive overarching story of a giant alien spaceship crashing into South Park and the green goo turning everybody into Nazi zombies. Clyde using the green goo is something that a South Park character would do. Okay, more so Cartman, and does not feel out of place or jarring, as again, it's South Park. It also naturally links with the main character's ability to make friends easily, uniting the two sides of the story, and gives you an excuse to go to multiple parts of the town and Canada as to find a solution to the problem.
You're not from around here, are you? You're not from around here, are you?
But what's really cool is the boundaries, or lack thereof, that South Park crosses. You do everything in this game. Things that you have never done in gaming before, you do in South Park. Heck, things that you can't even fathom, you do in South Park: The Stick of Truth. There's an abortion minigame where you perform an abortion on a man. Right after you perform the abortion, you have to fight aborted Nazi zombie fetuses in the abortion clinic.
Mathers, where did you find the alien goo? Broken vials were in the trash can, sir. What could have come into contact with it in the trash can of an abortion clinic? Oh my god.
You have to watch your in-game parents have sex for a whole minute. And dodge your dad's testicles. You have to shrink down to Lego figurine size and go up a man's anus as the US government decides to put a nuke up said anus as to blow up the entire town. Not to mention that the person's ass you're going up is Mr. Slave, so he has everything shoved up it, from bats to soldiers. Ultimately, South Park: The Stick of Truth is what happens when you have infinite creative freedom and use it to its maximum potential capabilities. The story perfectly blends the small-scale make-believe fantasy adventure that the boys go through concerning their fight over the Stick of Truth to the large-scale grandiose story of the alien spaceship crashing into South Park, and those two stories intersecting and interacting with one another. The gameplay, while simple, again, uses its infinite creative freedom to give you a large variety of weapons and equipment to use from. The same goes for enemy variety too, from the other boys from the main cast, to the US government, to aliens, to aborted Nazi zombie fetuses. The game gives you a large variety of enemies to fight with their own unique skills and abilities and attacks. In the end, this game is the very definition of what your parents see versus what you imagined as a child in your head. Well, until iPads took that over. Damn it, iPad children! This is Zach, not Zach, signing off. Please remember to like, favorite, and subscribe.